My next guest is Rick Kidder. He's the top executive of the New Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce, which is now doing business as Southcoast Chamber of Commerce. They are the primary sponsors of the New Bedford Seaport Chowder Festival. It's happening October 8th on Pier 3.
Absolutely, from 12 to 5 p.m.
It is a wonderful event. It's had some different sponsors over the years. This is the 12th annual.
This is the 12th annual. It was actually done by D&B Inc. for a number of years. They've gone through some transition, lacked the capacity for do it. So what we've done is actually lease the event from them. So D&B Inc. is going to get a little revenue as well as the Chamber.
Rick Kidder, who has been, I would say it's a little longer than a year now. It must be a year and a half, 2 years.
It's 2 years.
2 years. Let me formally welcome you here to Townsquare Sunday, first of all.
Thank you, Jim.
This is a terrific event. It's a perfect time of the year. Still pleasant, not too warm, hopefully. This year may be a little warmer than in the past, but the fact is...
You're right on that. And there's two things at work here. One, when we were scheduling the event, we wanted to make certain that we were not going up against a Patriots game. The Pats play on Thursday that week, so we have that Sunday wide open. So it's a wonderful afternoon, and the weather forecast, as far as we can tell, is 69 degrees and sunny. So we are looking forward to a fantastic event.
That's just about right. How many restaurants are participating in this event?
We have 17 restaurants participating in the event, and we may get an 18th just before the event begins. We are finding ourselves with a tremendous amount of interest, and what's really gratifying is that the vast majority of that interest are from local restaurants, not chains.
This is a big part of this, and I know that a lot of restaurants take some real pride in this competition.
Yes, indeed.
This may seem like a little bit of a, we do it every year and we kind of have some fun with it. No, these restaurants do take some pride.
Oh, they do. I mean, we did a little video clip as a part of our promotion with Freestones, and the first thing they brought out was their trophies to be in the video clip. This is an event that actually has both a juried competition with 4 judges and also a People's Choice section as well, so that everybody who attends can actually vote on what they think is the best chowder, the best stuffed quahog, the best kale soup, the best of the best.
Now, these restaurants are local, but it's not all of them New Bedford proper. There's some, I guess, in the east end of the area.
Well, actually, we have restaurants from as far away as Middleborough and Little Compton, Rhode Island, who are looking to participate in this, and they want to make their name with this New Bedford crowd.
All right. So what else is going to go on down there? So, listen, the chowder would be enough for me, but
well, the chowder's
more.
generally enough for me, too, but there always has to be a little bit more. We're fortunate to have the Moby Dick Brewing Company, who's going to be there selling their signature beers. It's a great thing for the over 21s. For the younger kids, we've got face painting, we've got a number of activities and games, and we have a live band that's going to be performing throughout the afternoon. So there's going to be a lot going on at this event, and it's going to be one that I think all families are going to want to enjoy.
What does the Chowder Festival do for the Port of New Bedford, do you think?
It does a lot. Firstly, it gets people to Pier 3, and we are a working port. And as a working port, we find ourselves often kind of physically removed from what is really the bread and butter of this community, which is the fishing industry. This actually gets us right down there, and it gets residents of New Bedford and outsiders onto our working port, onto Pier 3 to really see what goes on there. At the same time, it also is a community event. And the Chamber for many years ran Summerfest, then got out of doing community events. Now it's something where the Chamber has an opportunity to assert itself and its roots in New Bedford by doing a really big community event. And so it brings a lot of people together. It also brings a lot of folks in from out of town.
And that's important.
It is.
We have not only a Chowder Fest that day, but a downtown economy that is looking to show itself off.
Exactly. And we find ourselves as an organization, we're putting on events all the time, but this is the first time that we've ever had to order, for example, 100,000 serving cups. We've never ordered in the kind of volume that we're ordering for this event. And that's because we expect anywhere from 2,500 to 3,500 people to come down, taste the chowder, have a good time, and enjoy the day.
All right. Did you mention live entertainment?
I did.
Okay.
There is live entertainment. We have a band. They're called Business Time. They're a local band, and we're thrilled that they're going to be performing for us.
Yeah. All right. That's a good. That's a good connection with the chamber sponsoring this.
Absolutely.
Business Time. You need some tickets for this event. How can you get them?
Actually, there's lots of ways of getting them. You can get them through the Chamber's website, which is southcoastchamber.com. You can also, if you'd like to physically go into the Chamber, you can get them there. You can also get them at Douglas Liquor Stores. You can get them at Bay Coast Bank on Elm Street, at Freestones, at Tia Maria's. So the number of the participants are actually selling the tickets as well. And it makes sense to get them in advance because they're $15 in advance and they're $18 at the door.
All right. And that will give you 5 hours if you go from 12 o'clock on. 5 hours of wonderful chowder.
Yes, indeed.
Meet a lot of people, a lot of wonderful people. I know when I was covering this event some years ago, that was my I was looking for people from outside. Never been to New Bedford.
Right.
Drove in, heard about it, maybe on their way somewhere to the Cape, perhaps, but they would stop in New Bedford for this, and they enjoyed it thoroughly.
Absolutely, and this is the kind of way that we, as an organization, can really show off New Bedford, because it's a community that is often, as people are driving, say, from Providence to the Cape, they may not stop. But this is a good reason to stop, and it's a good reason to actually see what's in New Bedford. And once they've seen it, they have a tendency to come back again and see more and go to those restaurants in their locations and make sure that they raise our economy a little.
Well, my guest is Rick Kidder. He's the president. Is it president?
President.
President of the Southcoast Chamber of Commerce, otherwise known as the New Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce. You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. Let's talk about the name change, if we can, for
absolutely.
just a bit. I know that some folks might say, and I think you've told me in the past, well, it's a marketing thing. We want to tell folks that we are special to this region, and we care about the entire region. I mean, expound on that, if you would.
And it's true, and I think one of the things that we first have to look at is that we're a regional economy. If you look at businesses in New Bedford, 50% of the workforce in New Bedford comes into New Bedford every day from another community. And 50% of our workforce, our working folks in New Bedford, leave New Bedford every day to go to another community to work. So we are, although New Bedford is the hub, we are a region that is an economically linked region. And we have served businesses from Westport to Wareham for many, many years. Although it's interesting, as you go further out from New Bedford, fewer and fewer of those businesses realize that we were serving them. And so we've done joint membership programs with the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber because both of us serve Wareham, and so we're doing join one chamber, you get both. As a way of trying to make sure that our service area is fully represented. So the name change actually sprang from that. We have a deep and abiding love of New Bedford. Our offices are in downtown New Bedford. That will never change. And our tagline became proudly serving New Bedford and the towns of the South Coast.
So there was, I guess, a little bit of, I won't call it hard feelings, but there was a little tension there between yourself and the Fall River Chamber, and maybe even the Taunton Chamber, but I'm not quite sure. But has that been smoothed over?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Interestingly enough, when we began the discussions, it was something that began as a part of our board retreat, not really to be released to the public. It was something to be studied over a period of time, which is a process we ultimately did engage in. Yeah. But when word got out, and word eventually gets out, it's hard to have a secret among 36 people. When word got out, there was some concern expressed in Fall River, and they actually went through a rapid name change process themselves into the Bristol County Chamber. We have, however, smoothed all of that over to the point where now the Bristol County Chamber, the Southcoast Chamber, and the Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber have banded together to create a new legislative alliance where we can speak as one voice representing the whole South Coast region at Beacon Hill. And that's something that we've lacked for a number of years. When one small chamber goes up and talks, doesn't have the same clout that three chambers collectively representing thousands of members actually has on Beacon Hill. So we've actually taken what was perhaps a negative, and we've turned it into a real positive, and we've turned it into a positive for the business community, which are actually the ones we serve, because it's not about us, it's about our businesses.
Whaling City Golf Course has been in the news, not so much lately, but a month or so ago. It's been offered as land for economic development. I suppose the proposal is being studied. The state seems to like the idea very much because we've often been told New Bedford really does not have a lot of developable land right now. Business Park is almost full. So now we have this golf course proposal. Has the Chamber taken a stance on that?
The Chamber hasn't taken a stance, although we are a part of the Regeneration Committee, which actually sent a letter in support of the proposal. The reality, I think, at this point is twofold. One, it's sad to say in reality because I'm a golfer, but golf is not what it used to be in terms of participation. It is a declining activity, partly because millennials find themselves saying 5 hours of doing anything is too much. And so it's not attracting the same audience it once did. And Whaling City Golf Course, which was a beautiful part of which was a beautiful Donald Ross design. At least the way they've envisioned this is the Donald Ross portion of this, the 9 holes, would continue to exist there while also finding developable property within that site where we can expand into a second business park. Our business park, I'm glad to say, is full. We have, I think, maybe one property left within our business park. We're looking to grow our economy, and if we can grow our economy by adding jobs, then we have really done a real service to this community. So I applaud the mayor and Mass Development for kind of coming up with this proposal. And recognize that for some folks it's a loss, and they feel that sense of loss, and that there's a lot of work that has to be done. Traffic studies, a whole design work,
some environmental stuff
that has to be done, and all of those hoops have to be jumped through, and they have to be jumped through appropriately. And where I think the challenge is going to lie is making certain that the people who live in that area and the people who consider themselves stakeholders of that golf course find themselves a part of the process as they go forward. If they do not, then I think there will be long-standing opposition to the idea. If they are included, I think there's a very good chance they won't.
As you know, this golf course, as friendly and as chummy as it's been, kind of a local golf course.
Yes, indeed.
It certainly isn't Augusta, but it's a place where a lot of people for many years felt very comfortable playing.
Exactly.
It's in the shadow of a dump, of a rather high pile of trash.
Yes, it's a very high trash.
And I mean, I just wonder, is that going to have to be addressed in some way in order for a business to say, okay, we're locating here? Or well, I mean, it may just be one of the issues that you've made reference to. There's a lot of issues that still have to be dealt with.
There are, and that is one of the issues that will have to be dealt with, because there are certain businesses that would find that to be not a detriment, and there are others that would perhaps find it to be one. So it does, to some degree, limit the possibilities. What actually accentuates the possibilities there for a number of businesses is its proximity to the airport, its proximity to the transportation routes on 140 in particular, giving people an opportunity to take whatever it is that they're manufacturing or doing and take it on the road much more easily than perhaps they otherwise would. Also access to rail lines. All of those things are important when you're looking to create an industrial park that may or may not end up to be primarily manufacturing.
When it comes time...
Or Amazon.
We're going to talk about Amazon. When it comes time to this time of the every other year in New Bedford, it's the political season, and
which is I call the silly season. Yes,
others have called it that. Congressman Gary Studs, for instance, called it the silly season every 2 years. Of course, he had to run every 2 years. But people talk about taxes, and there are some measures that the Chamber supports. Are there some measures, I should say, that could bring down taxes for commercial and residential property owners? I think we always talk about, gee, did we cut the budget? Why didn't the council cut the budget? What's the story? The number one way to reduce taxes is to increase the tax base.
That is correct.
And that is something I'm sure you're very much in favor of.
That is correct. I mean, if you look at the numbers at the city of New Bedford, one of the challenges that they see is about 85% of that budget is mandated spending. They don't have a choice. There's legacy spending in there. There's a tremendous amount in healthcare costs. There's a tremendous amount in sort of basic infrastructure costs over which they have no control. So there's about 15% in there that the mayor and the city council have some latitude regarding. I believe that although our taxes are high, our commercial property tax is high, I believe that for most businesses, the commercial property tax is not the deciding factor on whether or not they're going to be able to thrive within an environment. There are a whole group of other factors that are a piece of this. I will never defend high taxes. That's not something that you'll ever find out of my voice. But at the same time, it's understandable that we are where we are. That being said, I think the city is also looking at some creative ways that they can deal with some of their healthcare costs, which are running in the millions and millions of dollars as a self-insured entity. They're also looking at ways that they can better leverage our relationship with the state in order to bring some funding in to do the critical infrastructure that needs to happen, that hopefully can happen outside of the traditional budget. But no, you'll never find me saying that high taxes are a good thing. But for most businesses, believe it or not, the cost of energy costs are among the highest and the least controllable that they deal with. So that when they're looking at their expense lines, they're looking at, okay, I understand what my property taxes are. I may not like it, but I understand it. But then they look at their energy costs and they see those spiking, and there's a recognition that as we've closed power plants, as we have changed the way energy is being done within the Commonwealth, we're going to find ourselves with higher and higher energy costs, and that is a scarier number.
New Bedford and Amazon, any shot it will come here?
I think there's always a shot. And to be perfectly honest with you, is New Bedford likely to be a first-choice location for Amazon? Perhaps not. But that doesn't mean it's an exercise you shouldn't go through. This community needs to think big. And we can't always be waving at the newest shiny thing. But the reality is that all of the work that was done to create an RFP packet for Amazon is work that will have to be done anyway as we look to attract other companies to come here. So why not take a shot at it?
Roll the dice.
Roll the dice. And who knows, with if we get Amazon, we may get Southcoast Rail a lot faster.
That's probably correct. All right. One more time for the tickets for the New Bedford Seafood Chowder Fest.
Absolutely.
October 8th. Tell us about it.
It's Sunday, October 8th. It runs from 12 to 5 p.m. Tickets are available at the Chamber office. They're available at Bay Coast Bank on Elm Street. They're available at Tia Maria's Restaurant, Freestone's Restaurant, Douglas Liquors. They are $15, $18 at the door. For children, it's age 6 to 12. Tickets are $5. We would love to have this as a family event, and for children under 5, they, of course, are free. The event is going to be 17 fantastic restaurants, local restaurants that are producing some of the best food you'll ever have.
Thank you, Rick Kidder. And hope for a great day for the Chowder Fest.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for having me in, and we will have a wonderful day, guaranteed.
And that's this week's edition of Townsquare Sunday. Thanks to WBSM's Jason Kent, our production director, and Casey Sylvia, WBSM's digital team, for getting these segments on the air and on our website. Join us each Sunday at 6 a.m. for Townsquare Sunday on 1420 WBSM. Have a great week and a wonderful Sunday.